Betty Cheptoek from Kapchorwa is the executive director of Show Ability Uganda. She came to Kampala to attend a conference bringing together persons with disabilities and the different NGOs they subscribe to. However, she found it hard to find a bathroom she could use, despite the hotel having one.
When they have these accessible toilets, because they are not all the time in use, you have to struggle looking for someone to give you the key, and you have to struggle finding where the toilet is, because in most cases it's not within the floors.
Cheptoek is not the only one. COLLIN NDUGGA-Mbale has a bachelor's degree in public administration and management, but has spent several years looking for a job in vain. He recently received funding from an NGO and he now earns a living by making porridge flour.
I've tried to move to different organizations. I've tried to submit my papers to service commissions, but at times they want money, which you don't have. And people who have jobs, they look at you like you can't perform.
Several persons living with disabilities and the NGOs that work with them converged in Kampala to mark the end of a 3-year program funded by ADD International, which fosters the need to promote accessibility and inclusion in employment in the formal sector. The country director, KYOKUHAIRE, shared some of the statistics, highlighting the gaps in addressing the challenges that persons living with disabilities continue to grapple with.
Uganda, based on the 2014 population and housing census, persons with disabilities constitute 12.4%. But when there was a survey on the employment in Uganda by persons with disabilities, it was found out that it's only 1.3% of persons with disabilities who would be in a formal employment that were actually employed.
Under the Persons Living with Disabilities Act, employers are encouraged to provide jobs to PWDs, which comes with a tax reduction incentive. However, the representative of people living with disabilities in Parliament wants government to lead by example.
What we want as members of Parliament from the government is to make sure that we are given a specific percentage within the public service. That percentage can be 10%, it can be 5% for people with disabilities to be employed by public service. Because our campaign is government cannot throw the obligation of employing people with disabilities to the private sector.
However, MILO, an activist for persons living with disabilities, wants the PWDs to take some responsibility for low employment absorption.
So persons with disabilities should stop blaming themselves and blaming the impairment, but rather to show the world what they can perform and do, so that the employers get the potential and the gauge to see that they employ persons with disability. So if you're blind, if you're deaf, front what you have, what you will contribute to the organization, what you will contribute to the company, but not your impairment.
Other persons living with disabilities also had this to say about their plight.
This kind of election where we get MPs that represent PWDs. So I want the Electoral Commission to separate it so that it is at a regional level. Like Eastern region, the Electoral College should be there. Then the Western also there.
It is hoped that the authorities in charge should ensure that for every structure that is coming up, especially public buildings in different places, in towns and other areas, should be done in compliance with the Persons Living with Disabilities Act, so that these people can also enjoy these amenities like anybody else. And moving forward also, it is hoped that for every floor of a public building, be it a hotel or any other structure, there should be an area of convenience for the persons living with disabilities. Sudil Biyaruhanga, NTV, Kampala.